This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
A very good evening to everyone today. I hope you're well. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you enjoyed yesterday. What a spectacular day it was. Absolutely amazing. And I say, it's been a long weekend. Me and Em went down yesterday. We stayed overnight. We did, after the game, celebrate. We met an 8 Norrie lookalike. If you've seen on my Twitter or my Instagram, he was a lovely bloke. Portuguese, he's a big Wolves fan as well, so he's absolutely buzzing. And then I said to Emma, do you want to go for a drink afterwards? And she says, no, can we get back to watch Match of the Day, please? So we did. So you can probably see as well, I'm wearing the old Philadelphia Eagles tee. I've supported these, my American NFL team since the Mark Wahlberg film, and they're in the Super Bowl tonight. So we have got a slightly Super Bowl flavour tonight. So we're going to be asking every one of of our guests, fellow Wolves fans, their favourite NFL team, and so they can say why. I think there's a couple of little stories that we've got in there as well. And then obviously you guys in the chat can get involved and let us know who you support and who you're going to be rooting for. Will you be rooting for the Eagles tonight, or will you be going for the Kansas City Chiefs? It's a late one, 11 o'clock. But let's get our first three guests on the show. First of all, we've got Manny. How you doing, mate?
Hi, how you doing? Hello, everybody.
And we've got Lord Jason Guy, how you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, I don't want you to arguing tonight or fighting, please.
No.
He was arguing with you last time, mate. And fresh from his sacking, although he has lost a little bit of air, it's Nathan, not Jones.
Evening, Dave.
Evening, how are we, boys?
Good.
We're
good,
okay,
good.
man. Ready to go. Buzzing.
Absolutely, but I tell you what, I'm still on cloud nine, and we even got third on Match of the Day as well, which was absolutely good. Manny, tell me about your day yesterday.
Oh man, what a day! Honestly, obviously Southampton is always a long day, isn't it? So I've been training for the half marathon, and I had a 14-mile run planned, and also travelling to Southampton. I thought, how's that going to work? So I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and smashed out a 2.5 hour run. I think I broke my personal best in the half marathon during it, and then straight in the car and drove down to Southampton. So, when you get there, you're thinking, we knew how important that game was. A team that were below us try and put a bit of a gap, but they're the hardest games because they're playing for their lives, and I know they've got the world's greatest manager, but they're not as bad as all that, and they showed it in that first half. They just were on the front foot. They pinned us back, and it was a very, very tricky game, and I don't think any of us could have predicted what happened, especially after the sending off. It looked like, here we go again, one step forward with the Liverpool game, maybe a step back or a couple of steps back today. But the mentality, the attitude, the fight, the substitutions, huge key area of the game was the substitutions that he makes very, very quickly. And he does that in every game. There was no messing about, like seeing how the second half panned out for 10 or 15 minutes. He just knew, and he put on the right players. He knew he was getting pinned back. He was on a yellow card. He was hanging by a thread, really, and bringing Bueno on and Adama. And then, the absolute masterstroke probably was Costa. People say what they like about him. I read I think Jace put a post on Twitter, and they summed it up perfectly, because it was just we weren't retaining the ball, and when you're down to 10, you need some respite. You just can't keep facing a barrage of pressure, because eventually it'll tell. And literally, we had more possession, we had more shots, we passed more than a side with an extra player, and that's, I think, all down to the manager being brave, having a brave mentality, and not just hanging on.
Well, Jason, Manny, I think I saw that tweet that you put out there, which was Costa comes in for a bit of stick, but if you want someone that's going to basically unsettle that Southampton,
absolutely,
line,
and,
you know,
and he,
pure, and he came on and he caused chaos, didn't he?
absolutely, and I think with Costa, obviously, we're all as frustrated as he is that he hasn't scored. And listen, he was never going to come in and score 20 goals anyway a season, was he? Let's be realistic. But what he has brought to the team, and I brought this up in a previous podcast we did, he does bring other players into play so well. He unsettles defences. His experience is unbelievable. You know, he can have his back to goal. He tells players where he wants them to be, where he wants the ball. You know, it's just that experience is invaluable. And listen, if Lopetegui had no faith in him, we've got a lot of options now. He wouldn't be bringing him on. But he knows that there's still something there. Yes, it's not the Costa, and I've said this, he's not the Costa of 5-6 years ago, clearly, but there's still something there. And Manny's quite right about the substitutions. The substitutions yesterday were incredible. And, you know, if you look at Costa, Traore and Gomes all played a massive part yesterday. A massive part coming from the bench, where before, you know, under Lars especially, we were scared to use the bench. It was void of options. Now we've got 4 or 5 first teamers on the bench, so we can change the game. So yesterday, obviously, we're a goal down. It's frustrating. We're down to 10 men, and we went to win a game, and we beat a team really who we should be beating. You know, these are teams in and around the bottom half. It's so important to get points off those teams, and we did. You know, it's great getting points off Liverpool, but the teams we really need to get points off aren't the teams at the top of the teams down the bottom with us. So yesterday was listen, we couldn't have asked for anything more.
I'll tell you what, you're absolutely right. And I'm going to come over to you in a minute, Nathan, because like we've got over 170 people already watching live on the show within the first 5 or 10 minutes. So welcome to the show. And if you want to comment in the chat, all you have to do is subscribe to the channel and you'll be able to comment as well. Nathan, you've had I know we've got this little bet, which I think you'll probably get. You're going to have a win for charity, this £10 bet. And you've not been Costa's biggest fan, but like, do you concur with what Manny and Jason said about the impact he made yesterday?
Absolutely not. It was rubbish. No, I'm joking. It was just what we needed. We know Kuna's not the finished article, and you know whether or not he ends up playing that number 9 role, I'm not so sure. But you know, he's all we've got really at number 9. And I think Costa, as Jason and Manny alluded to, held up that ball brilliantly, and he's pointing and he's directing and he's almost managing from the front. And we've lacked that. You know, when Jimenez was in his prime, he was fantastic at holding the ball up and flicking it on. And you know, you had Jota or Adama running off, and it was fantastic. At the moment, we haven't got that. But the game was changed yesterday by bringing Costa on. And you know, as Manny and Jay said about the manager, he's reactive. He's not slow to change things, and we've had that in the past. We've had managers who leave it to the last 10, 20 to change things when it's too late. By bringing Adama on, we'd probably set up wrong in the first place with 4 central midfielders on the pitch. We weren't beating the press. First off, we were probably lucky to get away with, the 1-0. Fantastic save from Sarr to keep it 1-0 as well. Let's not forget that. But that second half transformation and, Southampton just didn't know what hit them. Adama on that side was running things and holding the ball up. Costa was, I'll eat my words on that one. He was tremendous. He might not score. He might not ever score a goal, but if he contributes like that during games off the bench, then fabulous. It's just what we needed.
Absolutely. And David Lindsay, if you were on time, you would absolutely know why I'm wearing this top. So you're late. So there you go. I'm wearing it because it's the Super Bowl. This is the American football team I support, and we've got a slightly Super Bowl theme tonight where we're going to be asking everyone about their favourite NFL team as well as talking about the game. And so there you go. So be on time and you'll know. Mate, you make some absolutely brilliant points, mate, because obviously we've talked about Costa and stuff like that. Just going back to whatever all the boys have said, I mean, obviously I was there with Manny was a bit to the right of me. You were behind the goals. And we were right onto the left-hand side. And obviously we're going to talk about the decisions in the game and the ref because we've got to talk about it. But I did say to Emma at halftime, and Manny, you made the point about Bueno. Ain't Norrie was having a nightmare yesterday. And I said,
I think they were what they were doing. They're targeting him. Those two forwards. That one forward. How tall was he? Dawson looked like Cadence next to him. He was huge. And what they were doing was they were piling them towards one side, and they were playing crossfield balls over to Aitnouri. And we know Ryan Aitnouri is a forward-thinking fullback, a wing-back ideally, or even probably further up. And when it's a flat back four and you pin him back, then he's not as composed defensively. And he was making a lot of last-ditch challenges to just get away with it, and he got booked. And we could literally, that referee spent the first half with his arm up in the air. The amount of yellow cards he was dishing out for what, I don't know. And you could see Aitnouri was going to be the next one. So, for Lopetegui to straight away. And what Jay says, we've got first teamers on the bench, so it's not like you're looking at a Kundal or a Campbell or a Lembekis. You're not looking at kids that you've thrown on the bench. You've got first team proven players now, and Bueno is so cool. He's so composed. That last 10 minutes, the way he kept the ball, the way he tackled, the way he was so composed, wasn't he? He was like
such a young lad. He really
honestly, he was fabulous, and a little bit unlucky not to be in the side. He lost his place in the Liverpool game. Obviously, when you win 3-0, you probably think, okay, we'll go with the same sort of team again when you beat Liverpool 3-0. Fair play, but
Aitnouri has a good record against what's his name? Salah, because he did in the cup or the game last year, he marked him out the game, and maybe that was the thinking, and he's kept his place.
Yeah. Good point. He has got frailties though defensively, and I think he was suffering in that first half. So, but like Nathan's just said as well, Lopetegui doesn't think twice, does he? He just thinks, right, I've got to change this, and if it's 2 or 3 players, he's got to bring on at half time. That's not the first time. At half time, we've had players just come on, and Southampton were rattled. Costa and Traore, that was a different dimension. Southampton defenders just were at 6s and 7s, and literally they looked like the side that had 10 men, and we could have probably gone and scored. I know they still had. I think when we went to
really good save in that added time, didn't he?
He did. I think you just subconsciously you're 2-1 up, and you think, oh, we've got ourselves in this great position, and you start drawing back again. So Southampton came again a little bit, but really probably the win of the season, let's be honest, from that position against a side that was below us. We have beaten all those sides, haven't we? Everton, Southampton, we've beaten all those sides below us, but we've got to start looking at other sides. We beat Liverpool, but we've got the Brightons and the Leicesters and the the Eagles in South London, Crystal Palace. That's what I was thinking about. And all of them, we've got to compete with those sides as well.
The Bees of Brentford, the Toffees of Everton.
The Toffees of Everton. We've got to beat those sides as well, haven't we? We're good enough to beat them and look upwards. I'm sure a few weeks ago we was about 12 points behind the Villa. We're 5 points behind now, so we can catch.
Yeah, because they lost today, didn't they? 3-1. 3-1. Yeah. Just talking about the yellow cards. I mean, like at the start of the game, someone said, he got when you saw Neves' explanation on the interview about basically him being aggressive, or he was the third player to come up to him and book, and apparently someone said on the chat that a City player got a yellow card for the same thing for being the third player today or something as well. I haven't watched that game, but it's like he could have booked any of the other 2 players, and it's a soft red card. And Lemina's off. The first foul was a bit soft for a yellow card as well. And it does seem like I think is that 4 red cards we've had against us this season now. Is it 4?
I don't know, Dave.
It's 4, isn't it? Because we've had Collins, Semedo, Lemina, and then Costa. That's 4 red cards we've had this season. We haven't had that happen to us. We haven't had.
But let's be honest, Collins and Costa, one was a kung fu kick and the other one was a headbutt. So,
one was a beheading.
Although the headbutt, again, like we're talking about the red card, the Collins one definitely. So maybe one was that, but the Diego Costa one, I think was more on reputation than anything else, because he didn't actually majorly headbutt him, and there was the stuff that was going on before, but they only showed.
Dave, what
Come
do you
on,
want him to do? Break
Dave.
his nose?
Dave. That was
Dave, what do you want him? Snap his neck?
What? Dave, do you want him to
Usually.
right? He's got to.
I'm trying to be pedantic here.
He didn't even break his nose.
I know.
No, exactly.
How dare he send him off?
Yeah, that was a really
I
soft
know,
red. That was
disgusting.
Dave.
I know, yeah. I'm glad that you all agree with me on that. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
Nathan, what did you think about the ref yesterday? What was your thoughts? If you can put it without in a nice word.
Expletives.
Yeah,
I mean, I think we all watch Match of the Day, and VAR and referees come in for an absolute slating yesterday, all across the board in nearly every game, but that one in particular. Where's that rule come from? This third aggressive person running to the ref. Have they been briefed? Have teams been briefed that you can only have two? Ludicrous, absolutely. So he looked out of his depth. The way he was waving his arms around, as Manny said, and those yellow cards were coming out like confetti. It was ridiculous. And it was only a matter of time, as Manny said, that Ait-Nouri was going to be the next for just any kind of foul. So he had to change things pretty quick. But there were worse tackles. Funnily enough, Kuna, I think, had about 4 or 5 tackles and never got booked. He was much worse than the others. It was unbelievable. So yeah, it was farcical, as everybody said. Just an awful refereeing.
I think that's the thing. It's the absolute inconsistency of it all. And looking at it, I think they have been briefed this weekend. Someone put it up on Twitter earlier. The actual letter of the law, and I'll read this: surrounding match officials, a yellow card for at least one player when 2 or more from a team surround a match official. So we did see it in the Man City game today. Obviously, we saw it yesterday in our game. And listen, it is a soft yellow, a really soft yellow. It's just awful, isn't it? I mean,
thing is, if it's one of the three, like Jason said, if it's one of the three, then to make a point, he could have given it to Neves and Martinez. He gave it to the guy who was already on a yellow, so he knew he was now going to send him off.
The rule says for at least one player when 2 or more from a team surrounding a match official. So it's Neves up first, then Martinez. So Martinez.
Then just give it to the captain, because he's the one who's supposed to set the example. Give it to the captain, if he has to do that.
It's really weird because Lemina goes sort of jogging up at half pace. Next thing you know, he just turns quickly, bang, yellow card straight away.
I didn't see
it was
that.
like he was waiting for it was I wouldn't class it as surrounding. I wouldn't class it as what Man United normally do to a referee, to an official. And it was, as soon as he was within a couple of yards, bang, it was like he was ready to give it in. And I just thought that was really, really harsh. Listen, if it's the letter of the law, it's the rules. I don't particularly agree with it, and I just think it was so harsh on the lad yesterday.
Well, to be honest, no one would stay on the pitch, would they? You'd have like 10 v 10 every game. Go on,
exactly.
I was going to say, how's a footballer supposed to go, right, there's 1 and 2 running towards the ref. I better not be the third. It's the heat of the moment. It's a football game. You don't go, right, I'll count players. You're just going to go, you're going to berate the referee. And, it happens in every single game you ever watch. Absolutely ludicrous.
I think dissent should be spoken dissent. We in the crowd literally were pretty sure that Lemina must have said something, because obviously we didn't know. And then when you hear that he actually didn't say anything, I mean, that's ridiculous, isn't it? I mean, someone came up to me aggressively. It wasn't even aggressive, was it? Like Jay said, it was just it was a jog. He was probably the least aggressive of the three. It
wasn't even as aggressive as what Dave was to you the other week, Manny. It wasn't.
Mate, I've been sent off.
No, that was when Manny was on the door. And that's the door.
Listen, that's just soft, and obviously none of us were expecting that, and Mario Lemina clearly wasn't. And for the listen, Lemina's been playing really, really well. It was a huge miss yesterday, but when you look at the, normally Wolves go a goal down under Large, we've been out the game. Now we're not, because with a goal down, we're down to 10 men, and Lopetegui changes it. He's got a game plan, in pretty much any eventuality. So to come back and win 1-0 down away at a team fighting for their lives with 10 men, you know what? Incredible win.
Yeah, so Manny, just on to you on the game itself. What sort of points or thing that you picked out of that game Would you?
I think it's just that, there's a mentality change, isn't there? Let's be honest. Under Large, on the touchline and on the pitch, man, we just seemed like a little bit lost, a little bit heads down very quickly. Never really ever threatened to come back in any of his games in the last few months of his reign. Once we were down, that was it. That was game. If they score first, we're not going to come back because we don't score goals. He's put points on the board. He changes it very quickly. We've scored goals, 5 goals in 2 games. Wow, 5 goals in 2 games. That's huge,
anymore, either.
Man, we don't know what to do. We need a break. We need to lie down. It is and without, let's be honest, without any strikers really getting involved. So there's goals coming from around the pitch. A lot more people getting you see more people getting in the box as well. That's noticeable. There's not just a lone striker.
The cause of the getting people in the box. I know we got a little bit fortunate with that own goal, but it was the pressure of the people in the box.
No, both of them. I mean, Adama very rarely, is in that position. And to be honest, I have to give Traore a lot of credit yesterday because he wasn't just the winger waiting on the touchline. He was running back in midfield. You saw him at one stage. He ran back to defence and he pinched the ball and he brought it back. So he was tackling in defence. So it's obviously there's a work hard, work for each other, play for each other. Big players like Nunes being told you've got to play on the left, and then when you come inside, so that he's not scared to give people different roles. I agree with Nathan. I don't think that worked for when I saw the lineup. I couldn't work it out. I thought, hey, that's all our midfielders, and he's got them all on the pitch at the same time. What's going on here? And I think there's probably quite a few lineups that we've had this season under Lopetegui since his reign, where we thought we've scratched our head at the lineup, but he also, if it doesn't work, he changes it straight away anyway. You have to give him. It's a squad game. It's not 7. It's 15, 16, players, and he uses them all, and he uses them pretty much effectively all the time. And that's the thing. I think going forward, when we watch a match that Wolves play under his stewardship, we know that we've got a manager on the bench that even if it's going badly and we're not playing well, we have to stay behind the team because our manager will change it, and we've got game changers on the bench to come back and draw us back into the side. And that's a big difference to what Bruno didn't have that, but Bruno, let's be honest, he wasn't backed like Lopetegui. I don't think he probably would have succeeded to this level anyway, even if he was. But so it's good things and looking upwards and forget looking downwards. We should look upwards and try and reach as high as we can.
Why not? Nathan, what points would you like to make about yesterday?
Well, I think Manny's probably hit the nail on the head, if I can remember that phrase. The mentality, as Manny said, has changed. The way that, under Large, the Bruno ball way of things was pass it across the back for about 12 minutes, bore everyone in the stadium to sleep, and then hit a hopeful ball, and then it comes back again. You can see the fitness level, the intensity, everything's just improving, and we're just getting up that pitch quicker. The intensity we showed at the start of that Liverpool game, that first 15 minutes, was just delightful to watch. It was such a change from that boring Bruno ball that we'd seen for so long. And we've already mentioned the fact that he's not afraid to change things. He recognised in central defence we had a weakness with 2 relatively youngsters, playing with each other. And he wanted to take Collins out of the filing line. And, he brings in someone and straight away we look a lot more solid at the back.
Yeah.
Going forward, we're a lot better. I think Manny said, okay, he's been back to the hills, £75 million. The reinforcements are there, but Large could have spent that money and had no effect because he just didn't know what players to play at the right time. And, he didn't know I don't think he ever knew his best team. And under Large, we obviously sent all the best central defenders away, either on loan or sold them. Ended up with a couple of kids, and it showed. And all of a sudden now we've turned things around. We're looking more of a threat. 5 goals in 2 games is just, my God, we've barely scored 5 goals in 10 games. So to do that is just great. And it's enjoyable again. You're not going with trepidation to Molineux away now. You're actually looking forward to the game thinking, we've got a chance here. And even against teams like the Busy Bees or the Toffees, we were struggling. So yeah,
The
it's
Eagles.
just a delight. I'm just enjoying it again. Say again, Jace.
I said all the Eagles.
All the Eagles, yeah.
Absolutely, mate. You make some really good points there. Jason, we haven't mentioned him, but Gomes was freed yesterday. What a finish for that second goal.
What a debut for the lad as well, because, you know, he's going to be under a certain amount of pressure, or putting himself under a certain amount of pressure with the social media furore that you know, underpinned his transfer. But you know what? He's come on a sub to dream debut, isn't it? He's grabbed the winner against Southampton away, and he's a hero. I mean, we're going to remember that for years to come, aren't we? Just a fantastic start. Do you know what? We just the players look better individually. You know, the man management that Lopetegui must be giving them. He's clearly giving them a real boost. There's so much belief throughout the squad. And I don't want to wish this season away, but I'm really looking forward to next season now. You know, when he gets a full, proper pre-season, you know, these players are going to have had time to gel together. There's clearly going to be a lot more confidence. So, listen, like I said, I don't want to wish this season away. I don't think, you know, like I said on the last show, you know, we haven't got a great deal to play for, I don't suppose, apart from apart from surviving. But we just listen, as supporters now, we've all got that confidence under Lopetegui, haven't we? You know, it feels like we're just going in the right direction. That's why it's frustrating, really, that it's come at this time. You know, so I think next season, listen, it could be like, you know, some of the nights at Molineux that we had under Nuno. I just hope we get them back.
Absolutely. Now, before we get on to our man of the match performance rating and moment of the day, as I say, it is the Super Bowl weekend, which is why I've got this on, if you just join in. So we're asking everyone if you follow the thing, or you've got a favourite NFL team. We're going to go with you first, Nathan.
Mine would be the Mike Dichter team, the Chicago Bears of 1988, with William Perry, the Fridge. I absolutely love that. And that's when I was really into, you remember, it was Channel 4, wasn't it? It was all over Channel 4, and I absolutely loved it. When I think I was at college. Yeah, when I was a bit younger and a bit more hairy on the bonnet. So I'd say the Bears. The Bears have always been a team I've followed. I've been to Chicago, and it's a wonderful place. Very wet,
windy city.
Obviously. Wet and windy. But yeah, wonderful. I love Chicago. It's a fantastic city. So yeah, that'd be my team.
Chicago Bears. And guys, leave your thing there. We've got Stu Kelson. He's a Patriot. So he likes his Patriots. Put yours down in there as well. And let us know. Manny, on to you. I don't know if you've ever watched.
Yeah, believe it or not, pre-2003, I never used to have a turban, and I actually used to collect baseball caps. And all my baseball caps came from California, because my mom's side of my family all live in America. My granddad, my three uncles, they're all in California. So back to the era that Nathan just spoke about, Joe Montana was the king, you know, and San Francisco 49ers, and actually went to Candlestick Park as well, not to see a match, just to have a look. And so I would say the Californian light sides, because that's where my family are from. Los Angeles Rams back then, I think they were, and then there was a Los Angeles Raiders.
I think they're the Rams now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think is it Oakland Raiders now?
Raiders as well before that.
Yeah, so those sides in California, and pretty much, I'm not going to lie, I didn't really like the sport. I just had a go at my cousins and my uncles saying it's not called football. This is football. It's just, you know, 4 hours of watching absolute dross, and not enjoying it a single second of it. But I used to collect the baseball caps.
I go with the argument about they call it football because obviously it's all thrown. So, you know, that's always been something. But I don't watch it religiously, but I do like the Eagles. And obviously, because they're in the final tonight, I will be staying from watching it. Now, Jason, over to you for your favourite. And I believe you've also got a story to tell us. We always like Jason's stories.
This is a God's honest true story. So,
are you an American footballer?
Listen, no.
I tell you what, it could be built by one. You could.
This story is incredible. So I was in New York with my late wife Lucy, and we'd gone to New York for a holiday, and we was going to a restaurant. So when we was in the taxi, I needed the toilet really bad. So as soon as we got to the hotel where we was eating, I ran to the toilet. I said, go to the bar. 2 minutes. Went to the toilet, come out, and there was a bloke chatting her up the bar. So I went over and he went, oh, sorry, I didn't realise you was together, etc. I said, hey, no problem, mate. So he bought us a drink. So I got chatting to him as I do. And I said, what do you do? He said, I'm an American football commentator. And I was like, wow. I said, listen, I don't know anything about American football. I said, in fact, I only know one American footballer ever. And he went, who's that then? And I went, Dan Marino. And he went, that's me.
No!
I swear.
Are you joking?
Down.
Miami Dolphins.
And he went, that's me. And I was like, so Lucy got my phone, took a picture of me and Dan Marino. I'll have to find it out. I'll put it on social media. I didn't put it on social media before, actually.
Yeah, we need to see that.
But he said, who, me? And I went, no. So I got my phone, Dan Marino, chatting to Dan Marino, so Miami Dolphins.
You should have said to Lucy, carry on chatting him up, tell him you're single.
Brilliant. I was like, yeah, he literally was chatting her up at the bar. He bought me a drink now, so, it's allowed.
That
Brilliant.
is a really great story.
True
You have
story.
some fantastic stories, mate. How many times have you been to New York, by the way?
Oh, flipping heck. About 3 or 4 times. I mean, actually, my friend Neil did the New York Marathon there. So I didn't. I did a canathon. I just went from pub to pub drinking. He did a marathon. I did a canathon. But yeah, he did that for the charity. So yeah, it was good fun.
Brilliant.
I've been twice, which is quite good. Anyway, so back onto the game. Let's get back onto the game. So we're going to be doing our man of the match, of course, our performance rating, and our moment or highlight of the day. And we're going to go with Nathan first for this one.
Do you know what? I'm going to give him 10 out of 10. I don't know. You can't to win a game with 10 men in this, for all that time. It's got to be a 10. I don't think you can give him anything else. I know the guys will probably disagree, but I think it's a phenomenal win. 10 out of 10. Man of the match. I think you give it Gomes just for the impact when he came on and the tears, the passion. It obviously meant so much to him and the fans. I know Neves was probably the standout player overall, but I'd give it to Gomes. The kid coming on and scoring a winner with 10 men on the pitch was just amazing. So
fantastic. So is that for both moment of the day and man of the match?
I think seeing him back on the TV with the tears, Gomes and Jota. Was it Jota who ran up to him at the end, give him a hug?
Neto. It wasn't Jota. We haven't voted
Jota, is it? Jota made an appearance. It was Neto. Yeah, sorry. I do follow the Wolves, Yeah. When he was in tears and he got that hug, that was incredible from Neto.
Brilliant.
And Jota.
And I'll tell you what, after the game as well, because I was with Paul and Balak and Paul's dad, Chris, and they wanted the coach was there, so they wanted to hang back a bit, and the players came out, and Lopetegui was out, Costa, a lot of the players, Gomes was there as well. There's a lot of young kids, obviously signing autographs. It was great to see that the players, Traore, all Collins, loads of them, Martino, another one, Semedo. They all come out and went along and signed some photos and autographs and had some photos. And I was there, managed to get a picture with Gomes. And he obviously it's his birthday today, 22 today. And you could just see like the emotion of it in his face and everything, what it meant to him. I mean, coming over. I mean, we talked about Gomes with the Free Gomes campaign, like he's already like a cult hero, a legend already before he's even kicked a ball. And then to come on for your side with like 20 odd minutes to go, your team's 2-0 down, 1-0 down, you're down to 10 men. And, he's come over here. He's not as a prolific. I think he's played 144 games or something like that. He scored 4 goals. He's been on the pitch for like 10, 15 minutes. And he wins the ball because them 2 players that come together. He picks the ball, drives forward, looks, shoots. The ball ricochets back to him. He doesn't lash at it. He doesn't think he has the composure to just literally pass the ball into the top corner instinctively. I mean, what a debut. He's not a cult hero already. I mean, it's insane. Absolutely. When was the last, Carl might know, the last player to come on for any team with a team that's down to 10 men, score the winner. I mean, it kind of on your debut. Has it ever happened before?
I can't remember, Dave. I was thinking, someone asked me the question. I could not remember. We've had some great matches with 10 men and where we've held on, or we've come, held on to a lead, or maybe, but not coming back. I just got, especially in the top flight. It must have been a long time ago. So,
well,
yeah,
Carl,
I'm trying to think.
Carl's the statos thingy. Carl, if you can dig that stat out, and also if you can tell us, Carl, because I know he's a bit of a statter, when was the last time, and has it ever happened as Wolves have been down to 10 men and come back and won? And when was it, and who was it against? Because if there's anyone that can find it, it will be him. Manny, on to you.
You know what? I'm going to agree with. I can't believe I gave 10 out of 10 against Liverpool, because beating the top two side, 3-0 at home, never happened for a long time. And you can't disagree with Nathan, because from that moment Lemina gets sent off, you're pretty much thinking, we're Wolves fans, we're thinking, oh my God, I think we've lost this one and we've got to write it off. We're thinking of the worst, don't we? So to come back from that position, not only win, it wasn't like we flukily went forward and got a couple of shots off. We actually controlled the game really well. We managed the game. We played it like we weren't a man down, and it was brilliant. So that performance, the changes, turned it.
Manny, you frozen?
Oh,
Is he falling down a well?
is it me? Did I freeze again?
Like
I don't pay internet bills.
I'll tell you what, that you've got all fuzzy as
No,
well.
no.
You blurred out as well. You might have to repeat.
I think Dave's doing something. Dave's doing something, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Definitely Dave. I'll blame Dave. Yeah,
it's
he's having his own back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said 10 out of 10. My moment of the match is got to go to, again, Gomes, but the moment is Neto running on the pitch, because that was reminiscent of, remember going back to the glory days of Nuno and him running on the pitch when we come back against Leicester. That's just raw passion, emotion, and it also confirmed that bloody Neto's fit. Did you see how quickly he got over? So he's fit and he's okay. So that was his fitness test done as well. So that moment was really special. We were just gutted that Gomes ran to the opposite corner where the fans weren't. I think he was just in a daze. He just ran to a corner, didn't he? So that was a brilliant moment. My man of the match, I'm going to go for completely different. I know Neves was great and Gomes, but I'm going to go for Hugo Bueno, because they targeted that side. They put us under pressure. He comes on. The Spanish Dennis Irwin, 7 out of 10 every week.
Love it.
He just controlled that side. Strabia came into the game more as it went along in the second half, because Bueno linked up with him really well, where Aït-Nouri was just struggling. And so I think that was a real important aspect, because that was one of the avenues we shut off Southampton. And so I'm going to give it to the young lad, Bueno, to come back, to be on the bench, to come out and perform that maturely. For me, definitely man of the match.
Well said, Manny. And Sandhurst Wolves have put up recently, I don't know if I can find that post for just a second. He said it was Bristol City away in the Championship, but we talked about this before the game.
It was 10 and 10.
It was 10 v 10 in that.
Yeah.
They had their keeper sent off, so it's a good call. But they were back down to 10 men as well, so we can't count that one. Carl said it's the first time it's ever happened. So if that's true, we saw history.
Ever. Bloody hell.
First time it's ever happened for Wolves, I think. Obviously, we've seen the likes of City and stuff come back. It was talked about on Match of the Day, actually, in the analysis, didn't it? When he compared the second half stats, and they talked about how dominant, I think you've made a point on this as well, how dominant Wolves were in all the departments in the second half. And they said, obviously you've now got sacked Nathan Jones. He's definitely was there too long, and he's obviously gone. But like they said, like if that was Man City, you might think but like against Wolves, so like the stats are absolutely insane. And again, I think as you pointed out, all of you, the bench that we've got, the timing of the substitutions, the way that he makes the substitutions. And like you talk about Bueno, you talk about obviously bringing Adama on. You saw that diagonal ball across to Adama into space for him to run on to get us up the pitch, to build the pressure. And we gradually built that momentum. Before we got the goal, Wolves were, looking the most likely. We didn't look like we were a man down. And then we got the goal. And Paul said on the match reaction, Paul said that after about 75 minutes, it seemed like Southampton's legs had gone. They'd just
panicking.
They'd gone. And as I say, they were panicking. And then obviously we got the winner. Incredible. Jason, over to you.
Performance rating, I'm going to go for a 9 out of 10. I would have given it a 10 out of 10, but we didn't keep a clean sheet. So, listen, 9 out of 10. It was a fantastic performance. Like I said, it's so important to beat the teams around us. You know what? We had 60% possession yesterday as well. And if you look at it, playing with just 10 players to keep the ball the way we did for the majority of the game is incredible. So, yeah, 9 out of 10. Moment of the match has got to be for me, Joe Gomes. We've all been building him up. He's a cult hero already. He comes on a sub, scores the winner. Great finish, like you said, Dave. So much composure, and then he the tears, etc. So yeah, moment of the match. Man of the match for me. I'm going completely left field, and it's someone who I've given a tiny little bit of stick to, not as much as Nathan. Diego Costa.
Good shout, man.
Yeah, I just thought, like I said, the way he was bringing the other players into play, and you know what? He's not making it all about him. He's, and listen, he's a huge name, but his experience is going to be invaluable. And Lopetegui's clearly got a lot of faith in him. And for me, that was his best game in a Wolves shirt. So I'm going to give him man of the match.
Absolutely. The thing on Costa as well, it's not about what he brings on the pitch, which he does. And you might. Last week he went to Jimenez and brought Jimenez on.
Yeah.
And that was probably the obvious thing that you thought he might do. He didn't do that. He brings Costa on. And if you see Costa on all the training videos that Wolves put up, you see his posts. He's a bit of a joker in the thing. He's a great character to have around. That sort of he's a larger than life character.
Yeah.
And we've talked about it before, when you go back to all the characters that we lost out the dressing room.
He's brought them back.
Characters.
Absolutely. Brought some big characters.
Dawson, Bentley, Dawson's another one in the dressing room, will be a huge, character leader. It has changed, hasn't it? That he's brought that. We needed that. We saw a lot of young kids who sort of were looking at each other and looked really rudderless.
And obviously that Sarabia, he looks experienced. Lemina looks like he's got something about him as well. I mean,
but if you think about it, yesterday, Jason, we didn't use Collins, we didn't use Raul, Pedence was injured, we didn't use Neto, Boubacar Traore. We've got like a huge number of players.
And they're arguably 4 to 5 players. They're 4 to 5 players that could easily start.
It could easily start. That weren't even required.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We didn't even use Jota.
No, we didn't use Jota either.
Phenomenal. I don't know why.
Our late transfer window signing, Jota, who slipped through all the media.
Manny thought Dennis Irwin was playing.
I know.
I'll tell you one stat. Sorry, Dave. One stat. Matinho has now played more games for Wolves than any other team.
Yeah, amazing.
I think
in his career,
unbelievable.
In his career, he's played more games now for us. I think it was Monaco. I think he's just surpassed that with yesterday's game.
201st game for Wolves yesterday, wasn't it?
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
What
do these guys love about Wolverhampton? I'm born and bred here. I'm still trying to work it out.
Yeah, I want to go and live in Portugal. And then definitely want to live in Monaco.
Yeah.
Before we go, guys, before we move on to Jack in the next, let's give a little bit of a shout out to Jose Sarr. He got obviously two games ago, the City game. The last 2 games, he's been outstanding.
To be honest, I forgot he played for us, Dave.
Hey?
I forgot he played for us. We haven't seen much of him. Have we been scoring goals the other end?
Well,
what haven't we done, Dave, though, in the last 2 games? We haven't messed around at the back.
No.
He's hardly... You know what Dawson did yesterday? Jose Sarr gets the ball and Kilman is going short to Jose Sarr because they're used to playing it short. Dawson didn't even look at Jose Sarr and sprinted up the field like saying, I ain't doing that pass at the back rubbish, mate. You're kicking it forward. And I think it's probably the introduction of Dawson as well.
Absolutely.
That's changed it. You know, him coming in, Collins and Kilman were young, and they basically are being, led by maybe the manager, where Dawson will say, no, this is what we're going to do.
All that K-pass, get it up top.
Get it up top, man, and get it up the field, and that's a less chance of even if somebody dispossesses you from there, they're not going to score. So I think that's helped Jose Sarr.
Big time, I mean, absolutely, and we've got options. We can play it like that, and we can play it long, and because otherwise you become too predictable. The things that I want to pull out, we
scored 5 goals, Dave, in 2 games. We're going to play it long from now on. None of your dillying and dallying at the back.
No way.
on Jose Sarr, I just wanted 2 crucial points yesterday. Kilman's short back pass. How he got to that ball, he could have easily brought the player down. He could have gone round him. He made the save, and he saved a certain goal. Defenders occasionally will make that mistake. He got us out of jail there. And then right at the death, the referee gives Ward-Prowse a free kick. They've got a man over. You can see the man over. And they get the ball into a shooting position, and it's almost point-blank range. He makes a brilliant save. And push it out, and you've got to say it when you think. But that was just 2 fantastic moments from Jose Sarr.
Absolutely. Listen, we was giving him pelters the other week, and like
all of us were
about Costa. Listen, credit where credit's due. When these players are performing, we're going to get right behind them. And Sarr has been very good last 2 games. So
maybe Bentley as well coming in, has probably geared him up a bit and thinking, we got an experienced keeper now. We've got 400 appearances behind him. I'm going to be out if I don't book my ideas up. So
absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, guys, it's been brilliant. Let's just finish off. Nathan, just tell people a little bit where you and Heather can find you on social.
Wolves blogger, as always, not Nathan Jones.
Unemployed. He's unemployed now. He's looking for a job.
I am. If anyone's, Of course you can, Jace. I'm all right, thanks, mate.
No problem.
Well, I'm glad.
It's the only job. It's the only job in the world that you can be completely useless and end up with £2 million in your back pocket.
Yeah,
as we've seen with it's the only it's the only profession I can think of where incompetence gets you a big payout. So Wolves blogger at the moment, Dave. I'm going to do a bit of writing for you. I did promise. I'll get to that. And you can hear me on there. And you can hear me on WM most weeks having a rant on the phone in. So with Jace is always on there.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, Nathan. I have to say, because I know it's been a tough day for you today. So it's great that despite the bad news that you had, that you still managed to come on the show. So thank you ever so much for that.
Thanks, Dave.
Manny, over to you. And also news on you doing some more fundraising. I think.
I just want to mention. Obviously, I did take these clothes off when I came back from Southampton. I haven't just sat here since yesterday. I went to the Wolves women's game today. They played top of the table.
Yes.
Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, basically, for people who don't watch women's football, there's only one team can win the league, and then they have to go into a playoff to go to the next level. So Wolves are second place, 5 points behind Nottingham Forest. So they're playing at home, and it's crucial because if Forest win, they're going to open up a gap. And Wolves won 3-1 today. They conceded first, scored straight away, and then Jade Cross, who is basically the Steve Ball of Wolves women's football. She's had injuries. She's had to play right wing back, but she's been moved up top recently again after an injury, and she scored 2 goals. It was absolutely fabulous. So they're 2 points behind the leaders. So brilliant win by Dan and the girls. Sorry, they got a game in hand as well. So they're back on track, which is great news. We want the women's team to succeed and get up the leagues because it raises a profile, doesn't it? WSL is big now, and if Wolves can break into that, and the better the men's team do as well, I think it will improve the women's side as well. It just works hand in hand. So thumbs up to the girls for the win. And I'm at Pedal Sing on Twitter. Obviously, at the moment I'm really working hard, training for the London Marathon. I'm trying to do it properly, not just turn up. which you do sometimes, half marathons, and you just think, oh, I'll just walk around if I can, and it is for charity, but I want to give it a good go, because as the years go on, it doesn't get easier. So, and we'll also having a Samosa Saturday, next one in April, just waiting for the fixtures just to be decided, because obviously, they end up bloody changing the matches to a Monday or a Sunday or something. So hopefully early April, we'll have another Samosa Saturday coming your way to raise some funds for Dementia UK. And thank you to the fans for always chipping in and helping. Can I just say I just wanted to say something about Joe Gomes that came into my head. The difference between their confidence in him now than like someone like Acuna or a Costa or other players that we've bought. He scored a goal, He scored a goal, and goal scoring is just the best way to get somebody's feet under the table and get the confidence up and and you can see someone like Acuna, he's a big money player. And these players need that goal, don't they? They need something to come off, score a goal.
Is another one who needs a goal.
Yeah, Nunes is another one who hasn't scored, and again, there's still people thinking, oh, he's got so much promise, but he's not just breaking through like we thought he would. So, that goal will do the world of good to Gomez, won't it?
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, it's a bit of a thing in the last two games, debutants scoring within the first 15 minutes of coming on. Dawson did it last week. Jazzer, I just want to say that's class from you, mate. A Southampton fan here saying, hi, Dave, Southampton fan here. Wolves away fans were class. So annoyed about the result. We're in real trouble. What do you think? I think.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's a class post and very bad.
You know what, Jazz, that we did you a massive favour yesterday, because they needed to get rid of that Nathan Jones, not the one next to me. They needed to get rid of that Nathan Jones. So I think we did him a massive favour.
I think we need to write to the board of directors for keeping him for one more match for us.
I'll tell you what, as well, because I saw the post from Southampton basically saying they'd said goodbye. The thing that I took out of that, there was no thank you or anything. It was just there was just nothing. It was like, there was no thank you for anything.
He has left them bottom of the league, hasn't he?
Well, yes. He's got a worse record than Hassan. Well, not David Hasselhoff.
David Hasselhoff.
He was in, he was in Baywatch, wasn't he? Jason, finally from you, where you can find you, and obviously, if you just want to just give another plug for your event that's taking place soon.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Wolves Premier. We've got an event coming up at the Green Duck Brewery in Stourbridge on March the 8th, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. We've got a Motown DJ raising money for the 1P36 Family Trust, and we're launching our new 4% session IPA, Wet Your Wolf Whistle. So you can buy it online now and pre-order. But we I'd like to get as many people down there as we can. We're going to have loads of ex-Wolves players there. Be a good night. It's a Wednesday night, so it's a school night, but we're raising money for a good cause. So if there's any IPA drinkers, get yourself down to the Green Duck Brewery in Stourbridge, March the 8th.
Fantastic, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure. Jack, thank you so much for being patient in the back room. We got you getting you on next. But from Nathan, Manny and Jason, brilliant comments tonight. And thanks ever so much for taking time to come on the show.
Always Wolves, Dave.
Always Wolves.
It could have been Bill.
I was thinking that on the way back. We
was all singing his praises when we thought it was him. Manny, you were saying how good he was.
I was really looking forward to him.
It's something different, We dodged the bullet there.
Sliding doors moment, that is. Anyway,
massively.
All the best, guys.
See you guys.
Cheers, guys.
Brilliant comments from the guys. Absolutely brilliant comments, as always. And we've got, as I say, been well over 250, over 300 at times watching the show. We do appreciate that. We're bringing on Jack next. Let me just change the background. There we go. Hopefully Josh will join us. Now, what I want to say as well, whilst we've got it on, is that thank you ever so much to Wolf Life, who power the show and help us pay for the stream, which is the software to run the stream. So we're really thankful for them. They do life insurance, mortgages and stuff like that. They're a local Bilston company, and there's a link below. So mortgages are very important. Life insurance is really important. They're a local company. They'll get you the best deal, and the link's in the description below. And you'll be able to potentially win a Wolves shirt. Jack, Oh my God,
Evening.
how are you feeling? Thank you for being so patient, mate.
Not a problem. Cloud 9, how about Cloud 10? I missed the Liverpool game last week. I had COVID, so I had to obviously stay away, and I managed to watch bits of it online and saw obviously match of the day, and it sounded like it was a really great classic Wolves performance, a great day to be a Wolves fan. I'm slightly biased because I didn't see last week, but I think yesterday was probably slightly better, because I think when you look at the sort of the conditions of the game and the circumstances, to be a goal down so early, to be a man down for the best part of an hour, to have a referee who's clearly decided that he wanted Southampton to win and was giving them every decision he could, to come back and win that game, I think that takes, forget about talent and ability for a minute. That takes guts, and it takes character, and it takes belief. And so I think when because let's be fair, we're in a great run at the minute, but we're still in a relegation battle. When you can show that level of character, gut, whatever you want to call it, that is far more important than being able to blow teams away with skill and talent and ability. You've got to grind out results. You've got to find points and wins where no one's giving you a prayer. And I think we did that yesterday. And so for me, I take so much confidence and belief as a fan from yesterday's result.
Mate, and me, I mean, absolutely buzzing. It's great because we've had so much pain last year, especially since February, so much pain. And we talked about the atmosphere and the life. It's been like and if you like your Harry Potter, it's been like a dementia sucking the life out of us for the last however long. And then like Harry's got his wand and he's cast a what's that spell that they cast with the Emma? The spell they cast to get rid of the dementors. What's that called? She can't remember. She'll come back with it. Anyway, the Dementors have been got. Lopetegui's cast a spell on the team. And, it's the turnaround, in the atmosphere, in the fans, the players, the belief, the confidence, everything's sort of like seeping back into that. So, and the other thing that, to me, is what you've pulled out, it's not just about the quality and stuff. It's the belief. It's the belief that they ain't got, that belief had gone. It had gone. It had literally left the building with Elvis, closed the door, and was walking off to Graceland. It had literally gone, and it's back. They believe that they can get something out of even an impossible situation. They believe they could beat Liverpool, and they did. They had, they had that mentality when we were under siege last week as well, and then had the belief to go up and score the goal. And yesterday, the manager, I'd have loved to have. I mean, I wish there was an Amazon Prime video. That they did with Arsenal and Tottenham. I'd love to have seen that halftime team talk. What was said in the halftime break, because they came out second half, and you would not have known Wolves were a man down.
No, you wouldn't. No, you'd struggle to pick out which team had 10 men. I mean, it's quite interesting because we were saying where we were, me and my mates, when we were watching, if it's still 1-0 with 20 minutes to go, they'll start to panic because they haven't won at home since God was a lad. Once 20 minutes to go, 1-0 up. We did exactly the same when we played West Ham the other week. That atmosphere in the last 20 minutes at Molineux when we was 1-0 up against West Ham, it was terrible. It was so nervous and tetchy and tense. And you knew Southampton would be exactly the same. And because they've got an inexperienced, poor manager, he'd do the same. He'd start to panic. He'd bring extra defenders on to try and shore it up. He'd drop them deeper and deeper and deeper. The fans would start to get nervous. If it's still 1-0 with 1-0 down with 20 minutes to go, you thought we were going to win the game. And that's exactly how it played out. Because, again, you talk about belief. It comes down to leadership, ultimately. Lopetegui is a fantastic coach. He's a great manager. But he's a leader. He's got everyone in that dressing room eating out the palm of his hand. And he's done it in, 6-7 weeks? It's phenomenal. You look at the guys who were on the unused subs on the bench running over to celebrate goals, and all the coaching staff at full-time hugging and on the touchline. And he's just completely united everyone behind the cause, hasn't he? And I think what he's done is he's created almost like that siege mentality. He's picked up some bookings himself, hasn't he, for having a go at referees. And, squaring up to opposition managers and stuff like that. And he's kind of gone, you know what? I'm the leader of this vehicle. I'm driving it. So I'm going to throw myself through brick walls for you. And you're going to have to do the same back for me as players. When it gets tough, when we're a goal down and man down, you're going to need to run through brick walls for me. I'll do it for you. You do it for me. And that's exactly what they're doing now. Would we have got back into that game under Bruno Lage? Probably not, because he wouldn't have made the substitutions as early. He wouldn't have made the bold substitutions. But also, I just don't feel the players ever really believed that he was there for them, that he was their manager. He was just he's probably actually Bruno Lage, a very good coach, but he was never quite a manager, was he? And he certainly wasn't a leader of a group, whereas Lopetegui absolutely is. And I think you can see that yesterday in really clearly. Everyone was kind of so united. There was never at any point in that game did our heads go. Did we start to panic? Did we start to worry? We never started banging the ball down the pitch and hoping for second balls. It was still, let's play how we're going to play. And the chances will come, the goals will come, and we'll win this game. And that's exactly what happened.
Mate, you always say things so articulately, which is why I absolutely love having you on the show and why people love having you on. Someone else that we like to have on is our Josh, who's just arrived. We need to change the background again now. So there we are. I am prepared. Josh, listen, mate, this is late getting on, but you made it. Where have you been?
Been to tea at the Three Cranes on Dovedale Road.
Very nice.
Indian mixed grill. Just about finished it.
Are you flopped now?
Yeah, it was a bigger. I always try and go for a boneless mixed grill, masala chips, and me and my brother suddenly decided now to add a side of chili chicken to it and all. And you look at it and you think, oh, it's getting a bit too much.
Absolutely, mate, and you enjoyed it. I'm glad you made it back because you did mess with it. Because a lot of the time I have people saying, "Can I come on first?" Jack saying, "Can I come on?" Josh saying, "Can I come on last?" In the last later on, which is great. And Jack, you're an absolute gentleman because you never mind where you come on. You're always there, and it really is appreciated because not everyone could come on first, so it's much appreciated. We've basically got people saying hello to you guys as well. Like an 80s hip-hop duo, apparently.
No.
You want to do a hip-hop, guys, whilst we're on for the show? A bit of TV? Yo, check it out. Whatever. You want to do a bit of hip-hop?
Nah.
We got hip-hop? No, I'm only teasing you guys.
You'll end up having memes on Twitter somewhere at some point of that, if we do that.
Absolutely. Jack's just been talking about the mentality of the team and yesterday. I think you were both there yesterday, yeah?
Yeah.
Absolutely. What an away day that was. Something that will live, and you'll probably tell your grandkids about at some point. It's one of them things. We don't know if it's ever happened for Wolves before, whether they've won a game with 10 men from being a goal down. I don't know. No one can seem to find the answer to that. Definitely not happened in the Premier League. Josh, tell us about your day yesterday.
Really good day, actually. So we were on apart from the start with the coach, if anybody was on the Hatherton coach that was watching, it was me sitting in the step below the back row before we got the other coach, waiting for the coach and piled onto the second.
They didn't have enough seats, did they?
No, the four of us, but there's 12 of us all together. Some of them jumped on the first, and us four jumped on the second. And because usually the second coach has got a few more spaces, so we've jumped on the second coach. Just four of the last four on, can't get on. Go down to the first coach with a few of us. Everyone's piled on. Two of the people who were with the four of us have managed to get on, but obviously the lad and his mum. The lad's ended up sitting by my friend's dad, and his mum's ended up a bit further forward. And me and me godparent Matt were waiting on the end, and we're like, "What's going on here? Can we get on?" And in the end, I had to struck me here, but I was sitting on just in front of the back row in the middle, and we had to go back down to the depot for Hills and go and get another couch. But to be fair, it wasn't too bad. We were meant to leave at 8. We ended up leaving about 25 to 9 by the time we got back to Fulton Street Car Park and back round to the M6. And then we were there we were at the pub stop in Eastleigh for 11:15, 11:30.
Well, you'll know all about Eastleigh, the band.
No, the name rang a bell, but I completely forgot.
Senators.
No, that rings a bell now.
Senators. You won't understand. Me and Josh are both like in the banding world, marching bands world, and stuff like that. The Senators were a very, very good band back in the day. They used to have the tails, and as with everything with banding, they're not going. Most bands are not going anymore. So an absolutely great day. Jack, obviously, before the game, I'm full of optimism, full of positivity. After the result, I think most Wolves fans are going in thinking this is a Southampton team. We get a goal up, they'll collapse. But as what Emma said, it's always a potential banana skin because we've just come off a great victory against Liverpool last week. Finally getting that monkey off our back, and finally that one team that we hadn't beaten in the Premier League, we beat. And then you've got to follow it up with victories. As a away game as it is, as tough as it is, as much as they're going to be desperate to get the points, these are the games you've got to win. And I was going in thinking it's going to be a tough game, but we're going to win it. They started very fiery, very honest. They're number 45, by the way. I don't know what his name was, but he was fantastic. The young
Lavia.
He was
phenomenal player.
He was so good. He was causing all sorts of problems. And then they got another guy. We've got Kalajovic, who's out injured, 6'7". They got that other chap, the black lad.
Yeah.
He was like
a basketball player.
He's like a basketball player.
No one
and
could
he
get
was
near him.
winning everything in the air in the first 25 minutes, and they were getting all the dropouts. They seemed to be quicker to the ball to us. We obviously were. The ref was dishing out the yellow cards and stuff like that, which I think affected us mentally as well, because everything seemed to be going their way. And then obviously they got the goal. Their goal actually was a little bit similar to Joe Gomez's goal in a way. The fact that the guy shot, it came back to him, and then he hit it again. It went in off the post. And then just after that, obviously, Lemina gets sent off. And at that point, what are you thinking?
I mean, like I said, I always felt we were in the game, even a goal down and a man down. I actually think, to be fair to them, I know they've sacked the manager today. I thought Southampton were good for an hour. I thought they were quite, because I was half expecting, all their players are probably thinking, if we don't show up today, he's gone. So, let's not quite go full throttle and, but they actually played well for an hour. It was only kind of when I think they got that finishing line in sight and they thought we might actually win this, that they choked and started to let us back into it a little bit. Our subs made a huge impact, which I know the guys before have touched upon. But I just felt that we've got so much belief coursing through our veins at the minute that a goal down, a man down, we're not out of the game. We're just not out of the game. And I think I'm going to sort of skip ahead a little bit to my moment of the day. I think the Jose Sarr save, when he sort of stretched out a big eagle-like wingspanner and pushed the ball away from Suleiman. I think it was Suleimana who was going through.
Off the Kilman,
the Kilman error. Kilman, the poor pass, the short back pass. If we go 2-0 down, I think we're going to struggle to win the game. We might have come back to 2-2 and nicked a point, but I think at 2-0, I think we might have struggled. The fact that it was always 1-0, you're only ever a great bit of play or a defensive error from them away from being back in the game. And I think, again, talking about belief and mentality, I think that's always crucial when you're trying to get back into a game, knowing that you're only one moment away from being back in the game. When it's 2-0, you've got to get that goal and then go again, haven't you? Whereas I think when it's 1-0, you think, right, get a goal here, it's level. And whatever happens there, we've got a point. And actually, I think what was really good was we got that goal and we stepped up again, didn't we? Because there was, people round by me going, I'll take this point now, 10 men, I'll take this point. And I'm thinking, no, we can win this. We can absolutely win this. And I think the mentality, again, it's going to be our word of the day, isn't it? Mentality was kind of, we can win this game. And I think that's exactly what happened. They started to panic again and drop deeper and deeper. Their manager's substitutions were very confused. He took people off he should have kept on. And I don't know what shape they were playing by the end, because I think they've got like 4 centre-backs on and 2 of them was playing full-back and all sorts. So it was a classic kind of team under pressure, completely collapsed, and we took complete advantage.
I think you summed that up really well. Paul, on the Chris, as I mentioned as well on our reaction after the game, Chris said that Paul said after 70 minutes, Southampton have gone, their legs have gone, and it, Wolves' legs should have gone, because really, you're having to pay, everyone's having to pay to 110, 115% to counteract for the overlaps that they should have had. And it was Southampton whose legs went. And when we got the goal, it was coming, to be honest. The crowd was sucking that ball. We could feel it. You could feel the players. And I think the Southampton fans, the nervousness, the anxiety started to feed round the thing. Oh, it's only 1-0. When they're like 1-0 up after 20 minutes, and we're down to 10 men, they're thinking, we've got 70 minutes against 10 men. We're 1-0 up. We're going to get 2 or 3 here. That's it. But as you say, the longer it goes on, the longer we stay in the game, and then the changes that were made, and then not just at the start of the second half, but throughout the game, the pendulum started to shift, and the belief of the Wolves players were thinking, right, we're still in the game. Let's start to see whether we can get something out of this game. Initially, as Lopetegui said, was let's get a point. And then when we got that goal, and it was panic in the Southampton defence. And again, we come back to this because we're getting players in the box. And because we're getting players in the box and we're putting the pressure on them, like Costa and Traore, and then the guy loses the ball and then bungles it into the net. But we're getting players in the box, and that's causing carnage. At that point, I think most fans are thinking, yeah, if we get a point, that's amazing. But again, like you, we continue to look the team most likely to get the second goal. They were panicking. They were stressed. They were like, what do we do? Do we stick? Do we twist? I don't think they really knew what they were going to do. How were you feeling at that point, Josh?
They had no plan B, like you said, and I said the same to Matt next to me. 65 minutes just before our goal, when Adama was pushing down that right-hand side, Costa was coming in. You looked at them; they had nothing. They were absolutely legless. And at that point, you could just feel something was going to happen. We got that goal. And like Jack said, could you have sat there and considered another point? Well, just the point. But the way they were sitting back and the way they were moving, it just like some sort of fire started within us. And I thought the width, like an eagle, we first half we were quite narrow. Second half, like an eagle, we spread out. Bueno was going down the left, Adama going down the right. And it was just like we completely opened them up. But I just thought like they had no plan B. So I don't know if we're going about Southampton, but they had no plan B. And I just think we just put pressure on them, and we didn't look like anything doing like that with Bruno. Under Lopetegui, if you go even when we went down a goal down against Man United, you still thought, I know it was early doors with him, you still thought the way we played, we could have got something out of it. Same as Everton, we come from behind on that one. And then did it again the weekend, and it was just, there's like a mentality there now, like a belief that's back in the club, and everyone can feel it.
Absolutely. And I think that the results of the last 2 weekends, the Liverpool thing, putting them to bed, the character shown yesterday, we're on 23 points now. There's a gap that's opened up. We were bottom, and the form at the moment that Wolves have got, it's top 4 form in terms of the results. And
was it 10 points under Bruno, and then under Lopetegui, we've now got 13 in 7 games?
13 in 7 games. Well, we talked about on the podcast with Johnny Phillips. I don't know if you probably watched that. It was a great podcast. And we looked at the next 7 games. I think me, Jason, Manny and Paul all went 10 points out of 7 games. Johnny was a little bit more worried. He said 7. We were on 6 from the first 2.
Yeah.
It's like, and 10's good. And like, we've got Bournemouth coming up next week. Now, let's be honest, Bournemouth are not going to be a pushover. There's going to be an expectancy that we're going to roll them over. But that ain't going to be happening. I don't think Lopetegui's going to, for 1 minute thing, he's going to have it into them. We've got to put these to bed. But they got a good draw at Newcastle. Granted, Newcastle have kind of dipped a little bit. I think they'd only scored 2 goals in 5 games or something. But it was still a good draw. But like, and then we've got Fulham coming up, haven't we? Who else we got coming up? We've got Forest coming up away soon.
Liverpool, haven't we? The rearranged Liverpool.
Liverpool
Tottenham
game.
at home.
I'd love to do the double over Liverpool, guys.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely amazing. I mean, it was fantastic. And guys, tell everyone what the away end was like yesterday. That last 20 minutes, it was like, and at the end, what was it like?
It's quite emotional, wasn't it? Actually, in a strange. And I think going back to what we said earlier, we've had such a poor away record this season. You know, we lost at Leeds, we lost at Tottenham, we lost at West Ham. We never showed up at Chelsea. We never showed up at Man City. Just the Everton game was great, wasn't it? But if we're being honest, it was a 50-50 game, wasn't it? It was on a knife edge. We nicked it last kick of the game. Great. Yesterday felt like a proper away performance, didn't it? Backs to the wall. The ref was a homer. And you just felt everything's going against us today. If we win this, it's the biggest two fingers up to the PGMOL and to the own fans and to the own player, whatever. And I think when we got that second goal, I think everyone just went, we've done this. This is unbelievable. And there's strangers hugging each other and falling over chairs. And it was proper, like back to kind of how it was under Nuno. I think Manny sort of said, didn't he? The good old days of Nuno, when we went away from home and no one could beat us. And it was a bit like that again. You just felt like, we ain't going to lose this game. We've got this. Even when they had that free kick right at the end on the edge of the box, which was a terrible dive, by the way. I don't know, no one's mentioned it yet. It's a disgraceful dive by Che Adams. You just thought, this ain't going in.
He just brushes his hip, doesn't he? And he flicked both his legs up at the same time as if he was going to do a forward roll.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that was a very dangerous situation because...
But you didn't think he was going in, did you?
You
just thought, this ain't going in. We're going to keep this out.
I talked about this just before you guys coming up. I don't know if you mentioned it, but Jose Sá, we give him a bit of criticism a few weeks ago. The last two games have been magnificent. You mentioned that one save that he did from the back pass. That save that he did at the end, it's a shot on goal, and he gets his hand that it's going in, and he's made a brilliant save. And if you haven't seen my vlog. I've got a match vlog. I think I haven't put that. I've put footage. I've got loads of the crowd reaction and the emotion through the game. It's a definite must watch because you see the build up, the game, the expectations, all through what happens, and then the turnaround and the emotions and the fans. And the Jose Sá save at that point was as good as a goal. It was brilliant, and he's more than redeemed himself. I mean, Josh, were you hugging and kissing strangers in the stand?
I was indeed, especially two people behind me, which took me just as they kicked off in the second half to realise they were there. And that was Rebecca and Carl, who were contributing the chat and on the Discord. Yeah. Didn't realise. I went down for a drink at half time, messaged Carl Whitehouse to say, look, I've gone down for a drink. If you want to come down, this is where I am. And he messaged me saying, they've stayed up. As I'm walking back up the stairs, gone back into my row, starting to get back into my row, and I think, sure, that's Carl and Rebecca. They were both looking, and I got literally, they were in the seats behind me. I took my glasses off and went, that explains it better, doesn't it? And didn't all first half, didn't realise they were behind me, and it was brilliant. And then
directly behind you?
Yeah, literally the two seats behind me. Didn't realise
that.
And then when we got the second, I just turned around to him and grabbed both of them. But it was brilliant to be just that close to someone and speaking to him during half time. I've never seen face to face, and just had a brilliant conversation with them both.
It was emotional, and I'll tell you what, it's like I say, it's one of them games. The Villa game last season, it was similar, sort of like emotion and bedlam in the stands. Obviously, the Everton game was great, but for the sheer how everything was weighted against us in terms of the sending off, the silly sending off the ref. I mean, I'm going to ask you two about that in a second. Being a goal down away to a team that's desperate, that their manager, who's, is the fittest man in the world and is the best manager in the world and all of that. And then to come back and win in the way that we did, and then the drama at the end as well, and then the celebrations. This is why we go to football. We suffer the pain, we suffer the hardship you know, we can come on and we can criticise and the desire of the players and stuff like that, you know, and the board and everything like that. But sometimes a light switch is switched on. There's like a realisation in the boardroom. They get the right man in eventually. They back the thing, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like the generator's been plugged back in, and the togetherness with the players and the fans. And there's some of these new players already are becoming fan favourites. Gomes, Lemina, Dawson's played 2 games. You know, Costa, he hasn't scored, but we love him. You know, we all feel so emotionally attached to them and their journey. We all feel sorry for Lemina yesterday and what happened. I mean, what was your taking on that sending off?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, go on, man.
Right. I reckon that referee must be a teacher like me, because he had eyes in the back of his head. Because if you look at the replay, he's not even looking at Lemina. So how he can turn around and say he was running at me aggressively, I have absolutely no clue. I mean, do you know what? If I'm being brutally honest, I don't mind players getting booked for shouting at the referees, because I think they shouldn't be doing it. But would Jordan Henderson have got booked for doing that? Would Aspilicueta have got booked? Would Harry Kane? Would Bruno Fernandes? They wouldn't, would they? If they're going to apply it consistently and book players every single game, every single week for running aggressively at the referee, fine. But that's the whole point with referees, isn't it, at the minute? There's just no consistency at all. None whatsoever. It's absolute nonsense. I can't get my head around the fact that he's gone. Looking away, someone's running over, I'm going to give you a yellow card before you've even said anything or done anything. Oh, I've already booked you. Red card, off you go. I mean, we're quite lucky in a way that it hasn't really affected the result, because it could have had a really big impact on if we'd have lost the game, for example. It's straight away it's a crutch to lean on and go, well, we had 10 men, didn't we? You know, so in a way, it kind of makes the victory even more sweeter, which we've kind of touched on. But, I mean, is it a yellow card for running the referee? I'm not even sure if it is in the rules or not. I really don't know.
Well, Neves was a bit bemused about it as well. I mean, like I said, it's like getting arrested for walking on the cracks in the pavement. It's like ridiculous.
After what he said on Match of the Day as well, it was. I mean, the whole officiating yesterday. You look at everything, and in every game, if you watch Match of the Day when you got back, but go to ours first. First 5 minutes, you could see he was willing to let things go when the tackles were flying in. And then from 10 minutes to 25 minutes to 35 minutes, he lost complete control. And he was giving left cards to us for the simplest of things. And it come from amalgamation, I think, of their fouls first, like it always seems to happen. The opposition team get a few fouls in, which should be bookable, because they're the first few minutes he doesn't give you. Then 10 minutes onwards, it's like a switch goes on in a ref. The other team go and make a minimal foul. And boom, yellow card. And then that decision with the sending off was an absolute joke, because, like Jack says, he didn't even see him running. The point he turns round, Neves and Moutinho were from about 3 foot away from him. Lemina's another 5 foot behind them and has stopped running before he's even turned round. And he just turns, looks, bear in mind there's 2 players that probably should have been booked if he's doing that theory in what he was thinking for Lemina, and booked Lemina and send him off. But he's gone and done the same today against Man City. Diaz has run the length of the pitch, but there were 3 or 4 players there before he was, and he goes and books Diaz when he could have booked another 2 or 3 in front of him. Same ref, but it's going to cut. It was annoying.
The same ref as yesterday.
Yeah, exactly the same.
You think he's done that deliberately to make a point on yesterday?
I think he has, but on that basis, there's still the argument he should have booked one of the other. There was about 3 or 4 players in front of Diaz, and he doesn't book a single one of them. Whether Diaz has said something, he's probably keeping along with what he did yesterday. But it's going to come to a point with the refereeing and the officials. It's coming to a boiling point now where there's that many mistakes coming through. There was the offside for Arsenal yesterday where they forgot to draw. Lee Mason forgot to draw the line. There was the handball for Chelsea, which at first when I saw it, I thought his hand was grounded, the ball's hit it. If you look, he goes down, he does move slight movement. It's handball. The officiating is becoming ridiculous. And I thought just before this season, I thought the rest was over here, was starting to get back in line after the 2018 World Cup and how well that went with VAR and the officials. But this last season, it's coming to a boiling point, like I said, where it's becoming a joke. And everybody's on about it. And Alan Shearer and Danny Murphy said last night, we shouldn't be talking about the refs. We should be talking about the football. It's becoming every week now. We're talking about the refs' decisions, VAR, the fourth official, the linesman. I mean, yesterday, again, I said it last week, the amount of foul throws, and I know it's small, but yet again, the players' feet were off the floor. And I said it last week, it was ridiculous. The officiating in this league is becoming a joke.
It's frustrating, isn't it? And the other thing is as well, like we talked about earlier, Wolves have had 4 players sent off this season. 4 red cards. Okay, the Dawson, we talked about the different things. Some were soft, one wasn't. So we've got 4. We've not had one single player sent off against us. It's like the law of averages. It doesn't seem to be able to even itself out at Everton because of what you're saying. Is like we get booked for these soft challenges or whatever. The other team doesn't see it. And I know we're looking at it through gold-tinted glasses and we're going to be biased, but, fair's fair. You look at the decisions in the VAR decisions as well, and all of these things. When are they going to go in our favour? They don't ever seem to do they?
And it's like match of the day yesterday. It's match of the day. Every single game there was something. And like Danny Murphy said, we shouldn't be talking about the refereeing, but we are.
We shouldn't be. Well, we're going to come on in a second to talking about your NFL team and stuff. And obviously, I've got the Eagles. Before I go on to that, guys, I just want to say, if you want to comment in the chat and join in the chat, all you have to do is subscribe. We're just over 30,753. So that if you want to join in the channel and see all the content, please do that. And I also want to say a little bit of a thank you to a few people because these it's upside down and they haven't put it right now. If you tilt your head, these are all the little members that have joined the channel recently, and they really help support. And they get all the different little bits of perks, and we get the we've got the Discord group and stuff like that we chat every single day. Josh, you're in the Discord group and you're a member, and I really appreciate you being a member and stuff like that. Can you just sort of talk about what it's like being a member in the Discord group? Like you say, you met a couple yesterday in the community side of it.
So it's like basically to explain, it's like a WhatsApp group really. Everybody who's a member of the channel is all invited into it. And there's never any issues with anybody. Everybody gives their opinion and stuff. And no one ever really has a go at anybody. It's a friendly environment where people can put their opinions about the club. And there's been opinions
talk about loads of other things as well.
Yeah. I mean, what was it we were on about the other day? I can't remember what we were on about. Me and Carl were on about, and it went on for about 4 or 5, and everybody else was chipping in. And it was there's none of this how someone puts an opinion on certain Facebook groups. I'm not going to name them, but they're obvious, and a certain forum online where people just hound people for stuff, and there's none of that in the group at all. Everybody's is willing to listen to everybody's opinions, and it's really good. It's a really nice environment on the message chat, and have a good catch up each day on what everybody's put. I mean, the one for me, I'd love to know who his contact is in the club or who we know. Carl Whitehouse, the stuff he says on that group before anybody else on news outlets say anything. Players, literally, I think near enough every player we've signed or we've been linked with this season, he said it hours before it's come out in the news.
He's a little bit of a stato, is Carl. In fact, he made his debut yesterday after the match. We'll have to get you on, or Jack, one of these times after the game. Come and see us. We'll get you on.
I was meant to do it for Forest when I booked the car parking was going up by the time the penalty.
Yeah. And if you whatever guys you want to come on straight after the game, we're always by the little thing near the house there. Come on, and we get in because it's nice to get more than just our opinions on there straight. Get that feeling after the game. You're more than welcome. So, guys, if you're interested in being a member, there's 4 different levels depending on how much you want to support. I recommend you do it. We'll put a link to on the members group on the Discord group because there's a few more joined. And like I say, you get involved in conversations every single day because obviously on here you can chat, but it definitely supports the channel. And Josh, it really means a lot that you're enjoying being part of that. And I say you got to meet 2 of the guys and Rebecca yesterday, which was amazing. Before we get on, I'm just going to say a massive big thank you to Nathan Tripp for that. That's incredible. Nathan, he says, first year following the EPL, I couldn't be happy to choose Wolves to support. It was a hard early in the season, but your vids gave me faith to keep supporting. Thrashing Liverpool, the game yesterday, it feels great to be a Wolves fan. That's amazing that he says that, mate. Honestly, we do try to keep our hopes up over on here. It's difficult at times, but I'd love to know where you're from in the world and why you picked Wolves. If you just want to leave that in the chat, we'll put that up as well. And maybe Nathan, you might want to think about joining the community. So just hit the join button, guys. You can get involved. Now, Jack, we're going to come to you first. Obviously, I'm going to be watching the Super Bowl later because my team that I picked through that film. I can't remember the damn name of the film, but it was the chap that was a local chap that gets into the team, and I picked them from there. And so they're in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs tonight. Who's your NFL team, and do you have any NFL related stories?
I haven't really got one, Dave. I've never really been into it. I've got to be honest. I've tried to get into it, but it's like rugby with adverts, isn't it? It's just kind of.
Can I convert you to Eagles then?
If you want to, yeah. I mean, are they any good?
Well, they're in the final, so they're in the Super Bowl. So
there we go.
They've done well. They have to go through. It's a bit of a strange. I'm not a religious watcher. I just kind of take an interest in it and watch the odd game on Sky and what have you. And it's the final tonight, and it's my team. And so I'm going. It is like what you say. It's a strange game. I always think of it. It's like chess with grown men, basically, how it is. But yeah, you can be Eagles then, mate. The colours, the teal. I wore my teal yesterday as top, and Wolves wore the teals. I'm hoping it's lucky for the teal this weekend. Josh, how about you?
So, like you said, same as you. I'll watch it loosely here and then. So I've started watching it from around about 2014, 2015 time. And I think the final around the time was the Pats versus the Seahawks. And I thought, okay. Obviously heard of Tom Brady before and thought, I'll start following the Pats until I soon realised they're the Manchester United of football, of American football.
Yeah.
So I said, no, that's going to change. They've won it enough. I'll be classed as
you don't want to be a glory until you say that's why I picked the Eagles as well.
So I watched a few more, and to be fair, I do probably watch the Seahawks when I can. Probably watch them the most. So that would probably have to be my team. And I think we've had this conversation before. I can never remember what they've been renamed to. Washington Generals, is it? Then they are now.
Oh God! It's Commanders.
That's it. Commodores. Was it the Commodores?
No, that was that was them with the 3 degrees, wasn't it? The Commodores or the Commodores.
Lionel Richie, wasn't it?
It's the Washington Commanders because they had to change the name, didn't they? Because of the
So my dad's a Washington. Well, when he don't watch it as much now, but if he was growing up, he was the Washington. It is now Commanders, and I mostly follow the Seahawks. But like someone says there, the 49ers, I still loosely follow them as well. But if I have to pick any team,
the question is, I've always wondered, and maybe Chris can answer this question. The 49ers, is that because I always wonder why were they the 49th state? Is that why they're the 49? Listen, guys, we've got a brand new member. Ray Bisbee, welcome to the membership. That's absolutely amazing. Thank you for joining. Straight after this, I'm going to be putting the link to the Discord group up for all the new members, and then get on there and chat away and introduce yourselves. That'd be amazing. But thanks for becoming a member, mate. That's really interesting into your NFL how you come to do that. But Jack, if you get asked this question again, you've got a reason to say why you support the Philadelphia Eagles. There you go. And it won't because you're a glory hunter because they haven't won. You can say you supported them before they won. So if they do win,
before they were famous.
Once they've been in the final 4 times, and then they've won one time before. So it's
like how everyone saw the Arctic Monkeys before they were famous, isn't it? It's like, I know them. Yeah, it's going to be like that.
Absolutely. Peter Yam Yam says it's the 49ers because of the gold rush in 1849. Is that true? I need to know what the answer to this. Loads of people saying hello to Ray in the chat, which are already members here. It's about the prospectors. It is about the gold rush, hence the gold in 49. Now, I never knew that. Did you? Now you know. It was all about the.
I thought it was something stupid to do with how many spokes there was on the bridge in San Francisco. Something stupid. I don't know why I always thought that. It was something to do with the Golden Gate Bridge.
Stokes on the bridge.
Yeah.
It's amazing, isn't it? I'll tell you what, if you said that with a straight face to someone they didn't know, they would probably believe. Do you know what? Some of the logos as well. I mean, I love Wolves' logo. Wolves' logo is good. And I think the Eagles' logo is really good. You know,
Eagles, Cardinals, Falcons, and the Rams. I think
but
have got the
some
best.
of them are dreadful, like SF for San Francisco or KC. It's like, you know, there's some dreadful logos. They seem like they're from the 1940s or something like that. They've never updated them. It always reminds me. I think they've got all this money, the franchises and the millions that they make, and the logos are like awful. At least like you say, the Seahawks has got a good logo as well.
It's got anything to do with an animal. Any team that's got an animal, apart from Buffalo Bills, I'm not too keen on theirs one. But anything that involves an animal, they're usually all right. Actually, the logos.
And Nathan has just came in here. You know, he's from America. He doesn't really know why I picked the Wolves. I just like the black and gold. And I'll tell you something, Nathan, if there's ever a good reason to pick it, that's one, because there is no strip like ours in the league. I always think, you know, with red and white, blue and white, whatever, you know, red and white stripes, all that sort of stuff. We've got a distinctive strip, the black and gold, and it's a great white thing. And I think that's why a lot of people pick us, because we stand out. Yeah. And it's great to have you on board, mate. And thanks for subscribing to the channel. Right, to finish off the show, Jack, your moment of the day, man of the match, and player and performance rating.
Moment of the day, I've said is the Sarr save at 1-0 down, because I think that's kind of the key moment where, you know, you kind of went, we're going to win today. Because if it's 2-0, I think we're going to struggle. Man of the match, I don't think anyone's picked him yet. I'm going to go Craig Dawson.
Oh, right, okay.
I just felt he, again, kind of epitomised what we needed. He was gutsy. He showed grit. He made some blocks, some tackles. And second half, I think he really sort of, when they had those moments when they were pressing a little bit, he was just really calm and composed. And you can see already in 2 games, you can see an improvement in Semedo. You can see an improvement in Kilman. You can see an improvement in Sarr behind him. That just that presence he's got, that calmness, that leadership, that organisation. And I think, again, you know, we're talking about mentality. I think he's got that. You know, you listen to his interviews and he's very understated, very humble. But I think there's a bit of steel in his spine there. I think he's a real character. And I thought he was, because I say I didn't see the Liverpool game, but it was the first time watching him in person. I think he was really, really good. Performance rating, I'm going to go for I was going to say an 8. I'm going to go 8.5, because I don't think we were amazing. If I'm being, like I said, I thought Southampton were probably the better team for nearly an hour. I think the fact that we had 10 men is obviously mitigating circumstances. But, you know, I think we've played better than that this season, definitely, you know. And the character we showed and we've talked about, he's great. But I think even Lopetegui, as much as he'll be absolutely buzzing that we've won the game, he'll be looking and going, we could have done that better, we could have done this better. Didn't need to do that. We could have done this earlier. I think he's that kind of manager, isn't he? I think he'll very, very much kind of, even when we beat Liverpool 3-0 last week, he'd have been saying, well, could have been 4, could have been 5, could have done this instead. And so I think there's obviously definitely things to work on and improve on. But I think, like we said, just that character that we showed, I think he's going to be massive in terms of going forward.
Absolutely well said. And just before we get on to Joss, obviously there has been a word again tonight. Have you managed to spot the word that everyone's put into the thing? If you have, start putting that word down in the chat now, and we'll tell you how many of you have got it right. Oh right, yeah. Josh, and finally to you, mate.
So match rating, I am going to go 7.
Yeah, 7.
On the basis, first half, we couldn't get our foot on the ball, in all honesty. Every second ball, we weren't winning. But at that point, it probably would have been around 4. But the way it finished, the way we went forward, it knocks it up to a 7 on the basis of that. My man of the match, it's got to be Ruben. It has to be Ruben this week. I know I'll try and avoid saying him most weeks because everyone goes for it.
I called Ruben as well.
We know he's a leader.
I don't know if you watched our reaction after the game, but you probably watched it on the coach, probably on the way back or whatever. But we all went with Ruben.
But it was for me that he was the leader on the pitch, even before Adama and Costa come on, giving us a focal point up front. Neves was the one on field, and Dawson behind him, to be fair. But this week for me, it's got to be Ruben. And then my moment of the day, there was a cluster of things really, that all leads to the same thing. So I'll say it. When we were in Eastleigh with the Weatherspoons, there was a couple. Gone to get me salt and vinegar for me barbecue chicken melt with me chips. And they call me and said, "Excuse me, can I speak to you?" I said, yeah. You go on Dave's channel, don't you? I went, "Oh, yeah, yeah." And I was all these. There was a few that happened in the day, and that one got talking to a really nice couple, and they said we watch it every week. And they said they like Paul, Jack, Jason, Manny. We all do a really good job, and Lucy, everybody. They mentioned everybody's names and said how good it is. I then got outside the ground, and I knew I was going to meet this man anyway. He was the caretaker at one of the schools I go out to. And straight away, I'm looking forward to see you on the channel tomorrow. After to see how we get on with the game and looking forward to it and seeing everybody on it. Then in the ground, same again. I'm walking up to the steps to walk in, and this bloke just taps me on the shoulder. Never seen him in my life. "Excuse me, can I ask you a question?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "You go on, Dave. You Josh, aren't you?" I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Brilliant what you all do. Keep what you're doing." Going off what you've had on Twitter, I was dreading being spotted at times in the grounds, thinking, someone's going to say something stupid. But actually, everybody, it's the first time it's ever happened. People have grabbed hold of me and said, "You Josh, you go on there." And then obviously the final bit of the puzzle, and Carl's alluded to already, was meeting Carl and Rebecca as well. So just meeting people. And that was the bit like seeing, I've never spoke to Carl on the phone, but never seen him personally, or Rebecca. I only ever see him on the message groups. So to see him there behind me and have a good chat with him. All that sort of stuff of meeting people that watch you on this channel and contribute to the channel was probably my moment of the day. And seeing Carl as well do the post-match reaction, because I thought he was nervous at the start. I got my brother to watch it earlier as well. Nervous at the start, but you could see he settled straight into it within the first few seconds. And that was my point of the day, just interacting with people and meeting people you've never seen.
That's so nice to hear. That is. It's really nice because
I wish I'd have got the names. The bloke in the ground, I wish I'd have got his name, and the couple in the Weatherspoons.
Well, if you're watching,
they're watching. But
from all of us, thank you.
To the bloke in the ground and the couple. Thank you very much.
So much to get the feedback, and I'll tell you what, mate. The 99.9% of people are lovely. You know, no one's ever really said a bad thing whilst they've been at a game or anything. You just get the odd idiot who has some sort of grudge or whatever on Twitter occasionally that they'll come out. It's but in person, people are most people are nice, and that's one thing that we try and have with this channel. It's the community side of it. We've got one said it earlier, that chap that came on, his dad wasn't very well a couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We wished his dad, and he come on today and said his dad's a lot better now, and everyone straight away in the chat is saying so glad to hear it. And he said this is so nice because the people here are so friendly and nice, and that's what we want.
Yeah. I don't know if the one name's just cropped up, actually, whether that's right. Dave Barry from Cornwall, whether that's the bloke who I met in the ground potentially.
Oh, yeah. Well, it might be. Just there he is. Dave, love you to
potentially.
That's nice. Absolutely fantastic. Carry on then, Josh.
Yes, man of the match, Ruben, 7, and that was my moment today. Just a collection of meeting everybody.
Fantastic, mate. It's been an absolutely brilliant. If you didn't know, it was Eagles. It had to be. As I say, Hotel California. I will be staying up late, so if anyone's on the Discord group up late, keep us company in the Discord group because we'll be watching it. It'll go on for however long, but it don't happen very often. So I'm going to be sticking out and watching that. I won't be doing a watch along, so don't worry about that. Literally going to relax and do that. Jack, how can people find you on social and stuff if they want to follow you on social?
I don't think they can. Don't do Twitter. Don't do Facebook.
Oh no, you don't. You do here though.
I'm on here. There you go. So if you want me, you got to wait for an after match. Come and speak to me there.
There you go. And Josh.
So I'm probably one of the only lucky people in the world that can actually put their first name and last name as their Twitter handle and their Facebook and their YouTube, because everyone has to put numbers on. So I'm lucky with that. So it's literally Instagram, Facebook. I've just opened up my Twitter. I used to keep it locked, but in the last few weeks, and I've started using it, I have opened it up. So my Instagram and my Twitter is just Josh Woodbury. So Woodbury, B-E-R-R-Y at the end, not U-R-Y, as everyone says with the accent.
Absolutely amazing. Finley said, this is with Dad. Hi, Dad. I love this group a bit. And Manny is amazing with the stuff he does as well, which is absolutely lovely. Guys, it's been a great show. Thanks for joining us in the chat. It's been really good. The other thing I would just like to point out, I know you probably can't see this on the actually if you're listening to it back on the podcast, but I would recommend that you do check out the Always Wolves Facebook page, the alwayswolves.co.uk website. It is an amazing website. There's loads of stuff, like we've got the reaction, the player ratings, things we learned, previews, history of, loads of news and stuff like that on there that we do. It's definitely worth checking out. We've got a great little writers group that write for us, and we do like opinion pieces as well. So add it to your favourites, alwayswolves.co.uk. Absolutely brilliant. It's been an amazing show. Jack, Josh, Manny, Jason, and Nathan, who's come on tonight, so much appreciated for giving your time. Much appreciated, and thank you to all you guys in the chat. And I'm going to be completely happy if the both Teal teams win yesterday, and the Eagles win the Super Bowl tonight.
Hopefully for 2-2, Dave. That would second appearance,
round off a perfect weekend. So for myself, Josh, and Jack, and love and best wishes to wherever you're watching through in the world. Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.